Keep on coming!
Get off! Bullseye!
Boris, any idea where they're getting the money to fund this operation? Assembling this many cyborgs can't come cheap. Not to mention getting them all here.
There are two questions we have about the money. Is Dolzaev paying Desperado out of his own pocket?
And if not, then who is?
Duh. We do not know size of Dolzaev's war chest, only that he has some funding. Insurgent does not always mean the dirt poor guerrilla with the hunting rifle and homemade bomb. Some rebel groups are very well funded. In Arab oil nations, for instance.
Right. They have benefactors who share the same ideology.
There is also a chance some other party is backing Desperado directly, creating conflict for their own reasons, like the Patriots used to. Many groups stand to profit from wars, yes? Not just PMCs. Arms maker, contractor. Perhaps it is this kind of corporation behind him.
The oil interests alone could make billions here.
Duh. Already this violence so near the Abkhazia-Sochi pipeline is affecting markets. An interruption in the pipeline would shift the balance of power between the world's oil giants. Whether it's Dolzaev's goal or no, many groups stand to gain a lot of money from this mess.
Right. FYI, we just confirmed with the client for your next mission.
Great. How about we finish this one first, though? I'd like to see my family again someday, you know? My son's going to forget he even has a father.
90-day contracting tour, buddy. We're all in the same boat. Man, feels like ages since I was back in Virginia.
I don't know about in the same boat. These guys are out to tear me limb from limb. Worst you EMF desk jockeys have to worry about are paper cuts.
All right. Guess you don't want to hear what your old friends are up to then.
Who is it?
Desperado.
Where is it this time?
Mexico. Apparently they've got some kind of lab in Guadalajara. You're going in to investigate claims of human trafficking and illegal dumping.
And our client? Who's picking up the tab? If we're planning to play police all of a sudden, we're gonna need some kind of budget.
No worries there. It's a human rights group we've worked with a few times before. They were conducting their own trafficking investigation when Desperado came up.
Understood. You can brief me when I get back.
Roger that.
Raiden, what you said before about your sword being a tool of justice, I just want to say I agree 100%. I wish all PMCs thought that way.
Glad to hear you say that.
You mentioned it was part of some samurai code?
Yeah. I didn't grow up using a sword. I fell into it by chance, during a mission. After that, I decided to train with the HF blade. I studied a lot of samurai techniques. I really got into it. I tore through... What?
Okay, so...
Yeah, he found Yag as time... Or as... Which... Hey, Doc. Kev mentioned a lot of the high...
Well, it is not my... much of it is similar to cybernetics, you know.
Makes sense. A cyborg's frame is reading...
Indeed. Brain tracking employs nanomachines to stop these signals from reaching a normal body. The pilot can then substitute their own signals and control the victim. They can govern all motor movement, but not the victim's thoughts. It is not mind control. More like a puppet. The subject will not move on their own. The pilot must send control signals.
You can't just implant an idea like a hypnotist.
Precisely. You must manipulate them directly. Now, there are several methods for doing this. The pilot can act out the desired behavior and send the resulting electric impulses in real time. For example, the master raises his right hand, the victim does the same. The master says, Arschgeige, and the victim does as well.
Yeah, I get the idea, Doc.
Another method is to set an AI in control as a victim. Less convincing, but less labor-intensive. The AI can access the subject's memory center, at least, to recognize acquaintances and the like.
But anyone looks really closely, and the gig is up.
Mimicking behavior from surface memories is difficult, you know. Quite difficult. AIs are still very poor at replicating more subtle cues, such as the manner of speaking. As a result, often the victim can barely pass as a human, much less any certain individual. With the current tech, a passing acquaintance might be fooled, but not a close friend. Not for long.
Good. The idea of AIs controlling people is bad enough. At least I'll be able to tell if it happens to someone I know.
Dolphin and his team must be in here. Find him. Raiden, wait. There are active IR sensors in the area. Part of factory security, no doubt, but the enemy may be using it.
Get off!
These cyborgs can cycle between machetes, rifles, whatever the situation demands. You can deflect bullets in a ninja run, but do not let your guard down just because the enemy is far away.
Dev, you dig up anything more on Jetstream Sam?
Yeah, actually a bit. Still a lot of missing pieces.
I'll take what I can.
Right. Full name, Samuel Rodriguez. Born in Brazil, so I guess that'd be more like Samuel Rodriguez. He's actually not one of the Winds of Destruction. He's not even a Desperado employee.
Yeah. Didn't seem like your typical PMC to me.
His father ran a Brazilian Kenjutsu dojo.
Genjutsu. That's a school of Japanese swordplay.
Mm-hmm. A lot of Japanese immigrated to Brazil way back when. They brought martial arts with them. Those evolved and became their own offshoots. You've heard of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? It's their variation on Judo. Brazilian Kenjutsu's the same kind of thing. A different evolution of the old samurai sword skills. Bit of capoeira and some other stuff mixed in. Anyway, I did some digging. Apparently, the Rodriguez dojo was a big proponent of the Uridachi style.
Uridachi. A.K.A. Setsujinken, the murdering sword. Basically the polar opposite of my sword of justice.
Rodriguez Kinjutsu uses kicks, sword butts, even throws. Unpredictable and very deadly. Anyway, this is interesting. Sam's father was killed by one of his pupils. There were rumors one of the cartels was involved, but it's not clear how or why. And after that, Sam disappears for a while, then comes back, kills the guy who killed his dad, and leaves Brazil. He travels the world for a while, taking odd jobs, bodyguard, cleaner for the mob, etc., etc. Made a big name for himself in the criminal underworld, especially in Central and South America. One story has Sam taking out a mafia hit squad, 10 men, all with assault rifles, using only his sword.
Not unheard of for a cyborg.
This was back in the early 2000s.
Come on. He did that without enhancements? And pre-SOP?
That's the story anyway. And he's a cyborg now, so he could only be stronger. Not to freak you out or anything.
I told you, Kev. I got a reading on his fighting style from last time, and my body's been upgraded. I'll be fine.
Yeah. No. I know you will be.
You know, I have to hit so much power.
It's not all...
No? How so?
Well, things have improved a lot in the past few years. But back when I was modded for the first time, keeping artificial blood free of impurities was a huge hassle. Artificial muscles need a constant flow of oxygen from a blood source, just like the real thing. But it was a challenge getting the kidney units as small as they needed to be. We all had to undergo routine dialysis.
Sounds rough.
Used to be even worse back when Dr. Clark was still experimenting. Bad nerve connections would screw with the test subject's pain receptors. It was torture. Compared to that, I had it pretty easy.
It wasn't until recently that you could eat and drink like normal people, right?
That's right. We generally use glucose-based nutrient packs to keep the brain running. But we can absorb nutrients orally now, too. Whatever we eat's broken down by nanomachines, and we have taste sensors as well. It's not exactly like it was before. The difference is, I can turn those sensors off if I don't need them. That's been surprisingly useful.
So cyborgs can live pretty much normal lives now?
Well, getting there. We still need fuel cells and nutrition packs, not to mention regular maintenance. It's a lot of dough. Of course, another big problem's how other people look at you.
How do you mean?
There was a time when I wore artificial skin. Tried to look as close to normal as possible. I've still got some now, on my face. The tech at the time wasn't great. You still looked pretty unnatural. Maybe you could fool someone from far away, but up close, even a baby could tell I wasn't human. Going out shopping or whatever, you could feel all those eyes on you. I tried to find something to do other than fight, but looking like I did got me 2 strikes pretty much as soon as I walked through the door.
That sounds terrible.
Well, you appreciated it when people were honest about it, at least. But when they were too polite to just say so, that was rough. Things are getting better these days, though. Artificial skin's improved a lot. And you don't get so many stares now that the general public knows about cyborgs.
Maybe I should look into the cyborg thing, huh? I could eat whatever I want, whenever I want.
Probably cheaper just getting lipo, Courtney.
Jerk.
That armor is made from standard-grade composite carbon nanotube material. It should offer little resistance. You can likely slice them up in blade mode before they can even touch you. Of course, blade mode cannot be activated unless some charge remains in your fuel cells.
So who actually owns this plant?
On the books, a private Abkhaz firm. In reality, the Russian state.
So all the money goes right back to Russia?
It does provide Abkhazia with fuel and electricity, but yes, it was clearly built for Russian interests.
How do you mean?
The Caspian Sea is a major source of gas and oil, but these days most of it never passes through Russia. Not since the Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan pipeline was built. With it, the oil flows straight to Europe.
But that pipeline runs straight through Georgia. Why did the Georgian government allow it?
Money, of course, and power. Having a major pipeline run through your land brings plenty of both. The South Ossetia War taught Georgia they could not always rely on the West for support. They began working more with their neighbors in the region to build their own power base.
So Georgia stands to gain from this coup?
It would seem this way. Any scenario that ends with the refinery no longer under Russian control is good for Georgia. Even if they do not retake Abkhazia outright, they benefit if new regime is more friendly to Georgia. Perhaps this is Dolzeyev's idea, to attract Abkhaz political leaders with a pro-Georgia agenda.
And that's why Georgia isn't taking action?
I very much doubt Georgian government would be involved in anything so obvious and so reckless. There must be someone else behind all this.
And Dolzeyev's just playing along? Why would he?
Revenge, Tovarich. Anything to hurt Russia. Perhaps money as well, who knows?
Yeah, the Russians can't be happy about all this. Let me guess. They contacted you through the FSB, right?
There were conversations, yes. But it was the Abkhaz government that enlisted us. We only took this mission because we knew it would help the people there. Besides, we cannot leave Desperado unchecked. Not after what happened.
Right. I won't let them profit from this mess. And we need to learn who's backing them.
And the first step to do this is take back that refinery.
Hey, Kev. You have anything on that sword Sam was using? Didn't seem like your garden variety high-frequency blade.
It's not. It's a samurai sword. The real deal. 16th century make, handed down in his family ever since. Sam had it recast as a high-frequency blade. Doesn't say by who.
Is this something I need to worry about?
Maybe. You know the basics of sword making, right? The harder the metal, the better it cuts, but also the more brittle it is. So a sword's gotta be sturdy, but also just pliable enough to absorb shock without breaking. Walking that line, striking that balance, that's what makes sword crafting an art. Japanese swords fuse different types of iron, each with different amounts of carbon. Different levels of flexibility, in other words, so the blade can be tough and razor sharp.
And that gets multiplied when the sword gets the HF treatment?
Yeah. Basically, the high-frequency upgrade sets the blade vibrating really, really fast, right? That vibration acts on the electron shells of atoms in the sword and the local electromagnetic field. When the EMF achieves resonance, the blade's bonding is strengthened. At a quantum level, it's like the entire sword is made up of the exact same particle type. It also disrupts any atoms it comes into contact with. Say, those that make up the target. Their electron clouds shrink from exposure to quantum decoherence at the Planck scale. In other words, it electrically severs the bonds that keep the target's atoms together.
You lost me around the EMF part.
And that's the dumbed-down explanation. To be honest, even I don't understand all the details. Point is, an HF upgrade is like an amplifier. It multiplies what's already there. So Sam's badass blade might give him the edge. I mean, you know what I mean.
The original sword was really that good?
Sounds like it. Says here it's a Murasama blade.
Murasama. Sounds familiar.
One of the top 10 best-known sword makers worldwide, easy. In Japan, he is legendary. They say his swords thirst for blood, that they choose who will wield them, you know, that sort of thing.
Ooh, now I really am scared.
I know, right?
You know, I have to hand it to you guys. Cyborgs are just amazing to me. So much power and speed.
It's not all gravy.
No? How so?
Well, things have improved a lot in the past few years. But back when I was modded for the first time, keeping artificial blood free of impurities was a huge hassle. Artificial muscles need a constant flow of oxygen from a blood source, just like the real thing. But it was a challenge getting the kidney units as small as they needed to be. We all had to undergo routine dialysis.
Sounds rough.
Used to be even worse back when Dr. Clark was still experimenting. Bad nerve connections would screw with the test subject's pain receptors. It was torture. Compared to that, I had it pretty easy.
It wasn't until recently that you could eat and drink like normal people, right?
That's right. We generally use glucose-based nutrient packs to keep the brain running. But we can absorb nutrients orally now, too. Whatever we eat's broken down by nanomachines, and we have taste sensors as well. It's not exactly like it was before. The difference is, I can turn those sensors off if I don't need them. That's been surprisingly useful.
So cyborgs can live pretty much normal lives now?
Well, getting there. We still need fuel cells and nutrition packs, not to mention regular maintenance. It's a lot of dough. Of course, another big problem's how other people look at you.
How do you mean?
There was a time when I wore artificial skin. Tried to look as close to normal as possible. I've still got some now, on my face. The tech at the time wasn't great. You still looked pretty unnatural. Maybe you could fool someone from far away, but up close, even a baby could tell I wasn't human. Going out shopping or whatever, you could feel all those eyes on you. I tried to find something to do other than fight, but looking like I did got me 2 strikes pretty much as soon as I walked through the door.
That sounds terrible.
Well, you appreciated it when people were honest about it, at least. But when they were too polite to just say so, that was rough. Things are getting better these days, though. Artificial skin's improved a lot. And you don't get so many stares now that the general public knows about cyborgs.
Maybe I should look into the cyborg thing, huh? I could eat whatever I want, whenever I want.
Probably cheaper just getting lipo, Courtney.
Jerk.
So Doc, if brainjacking can access someone's memory, can't we basically see everything in their past?
Well, that would depend on precisely what you mean by see their past. The brain does not store every single detail the senses take in, you know. It records highlights, further simplified into a highly symbolic form, all to lighten the amount of data. We know how the brain reacts to what it was previously aware of. We can even gauge the emotion provoked. But reproducing memories? No. I've seen little progress in research to this area.
But say we directly linked my brainstem with the nanomachines of a brainjacking victim. Couldn't I read their memories?
There have been attempts at such things, but it is not so simple, you know. The connections between successive memories make up one's identity. If you disturb that, for example, say we remove all memories you have of being yourself and replace them with my own.
Yeah.
You would feel you were the great Dr. Wilhelm Vogt. You would behave very similar to how I do. However, what if instead you kept your own memories and we added mine to them? You would feel you were both Raiden and Wilhelm Vogt. Suddenly your memories would not lead one to the next. You would be confused, disoriented, without a sense of which man you were, and thus how you should behave. So, you see, the very concept is not practical for most military applications. In trying to read an enemy's mind, you would, in a sense, become that enemy.
You wouldn't know which side you were fighting for.
Precisely. Cyborg memories are completely different, of course. A cyborg's visuals are often monitored by outside parties, much as we do with yours. This visual data can, of course, be recorded for later analysis. All with full video and all in the holographic memory in their left hands.
So you can just sit back and enjoy the movie?
Well, it's not always recorded, mind you. And even then, there's the issue of locating the desired data buried inside all that video. You might need to comb 10 days of recordings from 10 cyborgs to find a single person or document. That is 100 days of work. Even replay double speed, 50 days.
Can't you automate the search?
Of course. You can flag any time a certain face appears or if certain words are said. But the process is not perfect, and it still requires time, you know. Besides which, often one doesn't know what they are searching for until they find it. But should you ever require a search through your memory, Raiden, I would be happy to assist you.
Yeah, For a modest fee, I'm sure.
I was wondering when you'd come, Jack the Ripper.
No one calls me that anymore. Dolsaev, where is he?
I can show you a better time than that crusty old bear.
You're in charge here?
I am Mistral, the cold wind of France. And your reputation precedes you. Liberian, but white as snow. A natural-born killer, even as a child.
That was a long time ago.
I was born in Algeria myself, you know? I'm only half French.
And?
We had our own civil war in the 90s. So you see? Cut from the same cloth, you and I.
You don't know me.
I lost my whole family. Everything. But I butchered those fuckers. My family's killers. That's when I realized I am a killer too. And a good one at that. I slaughtered dozens in Iraq, in Afghanistan. I'd found my calling.
Proud of that, are you?
What happened, happened. To be honest, I found it quite dull. My enemies fell like domino, one after another. Not once did I feel threatened. I was adrift, without challenge, without purpose. At times, I even envied my prey. At least they had a cause to die for. And then, I met him.
Who?
And I knew what I had been missing. His ideals gave my life meaning. Ideals, Jack. What are yours?
I protect the weak.
Still? So naive.
And if I must kill to protect them, then so be it.
It seems we have less in common than I thought.
I'll take that as a compliment.
If you would kill for your ideals, then surely you are ready to die for them.
This weapon of hers has impressive range. She can defend with it and yet crack like whip to attack.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Definitely suits her.
It does not work like anything I have seen before. I cannot tell where her attack will land. And even if you manage to parry, it may be hard to counterattack.
Yeah, I need to take care of that thing first.
When you see it go slack, be ready. If it hits, you have no chance of countering.
Raiden, you all right? That is one freaky lady. Yikes.
Aw, come on, Kev. Maybe she just needs to meet the right guy. I could slip her your number.
That's okay, man. I'm good. Besides, shouldn't you be worried about saving your own ass at the moment?
Well, yeah. Just thinking about how I'm gonna handle this.
If you're looking for advice, try hitting up Boris. Dr. might have some info too, from the UG and Cyborg angle.
so cruel the way she stomps on those tripods, just tosses them around. I feel so sorry for those little guys.
You feel sorry for robots sent to kill me?
Well, I mean, they're kind of cute, right? How they scamper around. They're like little mice.
You call that cute? I'd call it creepy.
Not at all. Trust me, ask any girl and they'll say the exact same thing.
Okay, sure, Courtney. I'll get right on that.
All right, whatever. You want to save or what? Save complete. Be careful riding.
So she uses an augmentary arm composed of tripods. I cannot imagine how she controls such a thing all on her own, but it is quite intriguing.
Stay with me here, Doc. I need to destroy it, not study it.
Yes, but just look at it. How it doubles as a weapon. So elegant, so efficient. She can twist its joints and crack it like a whip, or pull it tight to lock it solid. And even should you destroy it, she can simply construct a new one using nearby tripods.
Ugh, this is gonna take forever.
Not necessarily. Until a new prosthesis is formed, she is defenseless, you know. There is your chance. Of course, you must still be wary of the tripod arm unit once it is detached. Even if she cannot wield it, she could resort to throwing it at you. The electrolytes in the fuel cells of those units are highly explosive should they have a detonator.
Starting to enjoy this. Keep flying, boy!
Can use her weapon to block, but it is made of tripod parts. Even if they are an improved model, I am sure you can cut through them. So keep striking it, even when she blocks. Sooner or later, it must break.
Got it. I'll keep hacking away.
Yes, and once her weapon is destroyed, her defenses will be down. This will be your chance. Strike, and strike hard.
Ryder, you all right? That is one freaky lady. Yikes.
Aw, come on, Kev. Maybe she just needs to meet the right guy. I could slip her your number.
That's okay, man. I'm good. Besides, shouldn't you be worried about saving your own ass at the moment?
Well, yeah. Just thinking about how I'm gonna handle this.
If you're looking for advice, try hitting up Boris. Dr. might have some info, too. From the UG and Cyborg angle.
She's so cruel the way she stomps on those tripods. I feel so sorry.
You feel so...
Well,
You
no. All right. Be careful.
Desperado's tripods look different from...
Yes. Likely infused with carbon nanotube muscle fibers, like most cyborgs these days. Not even you would be able to shake them off so easily. What is worse, they leach fuel cell electrolytes from whatever they latch onto. A truly inspired design, I must say. Much like your own body, in fact.
Why doesn't that make me feel better?
I simply meant that both you and the tripod stem from the same line of research. Of course, your body is equipped with a limiter, preventing you from absorbing too many electrolytes. But it appears this is not the case with our tripod friends.
So, they absorb too much energy and...
And they explode, of course. Their fuel cells work much like any other battery, after all. You must remember the problems with old rechargeable batteries. They would heat up and explode all the time.
Report! Your vitals are dropping.
I lost. So this is how they felt.
What?
Dying. For a cause.
Wait. No. Hold on.
I am sorry. He was too much.
I do not need apology. I need you alive.
But I know you will never fall.
What is this talk about?
To them. The two won't go.
Je t'aime. Mister, you'll never...
She's not talking to you, idiot.
You killed her! You vile nuts! Murderer!
That's rich coming from you. It's overdose, I am. Surrender. Translation?
Why would I surrender? We are exactly where I want.
Shit.
Built with Russian money to make Russian money. It is no plan for outcasts. It is their prison. But now, they will be free!
Damn! Crazy son of a bitch!
Raiden? Raiden, what happened?
Bastard blew himself up!
I see. Time to get you out of there. We're sending a helicopter. Secure an LZ.
Understood.
So you've got some kind of disguise lined up, right?
Yep, all set.
Hope so. You'd be a little conspicuous just walking the streets.
Relax, Kev. I'll blend right in.
Yeah. Well, just get into the sewer system ASAP. Hopefully anyone who notices you will just mind their own business. You sure you want the K9000 there along for this one?
I had the good doctor make some adjustments along with the repairs. Remote piloting and AI wiping have been disabled. So yeah, I say let's throw him a bone.
Wordplay. My exoskeleton resembles a canine. Canines enjoy bones. Amusing on 2 levels.
Let's go.
¿Quién es ese güey? ¿Un mariachi? ¿No? ¿Un cyborg? Ese es un güero. ¿Qué?
Adios, amigos.
¿Viste? Qué raro, ¿eh? Hay que hacer que no lo vimos. Vámonos ya.
It's right. I'm in the sewer system.
All right, let's get started. Your mission's to investigate the Desperado-affiliated research center somewhere in that area. According to the intel from our client, the lab's been dumping illegal waste into those sewers. FYI, they're also involved with the cartels in human trafficking. Allegedly, anyway.
This just gets better and better.
Tell me about it. We need you to infiltrate the lab and find out everything you can. Of course, you'll have to find it first. We still don't know the exact location.
So I'm looking for anywhere the lab might hook up with the sewers?
Yep. If they're actually dumping waste, they've got to link up somehow. Find that connection, sneak into the lab, and see if you can find evidence implicating them on anything.
No problem. Stealth's my specialty.
Right. Well, we'll see.
Do we have any idea what kind of research they're doing there?
Not really. Maybe something related to all the people they're trafficking.
Like experimentation?
It's possible. First things first, though. Find a way into that lab. Oh, right. It says here the locals say black crocodiles live in those sewers, so, you know, watch out.
Black crocodiles? Could they be talking about UGs?
Maybe just an urban legend. But still, be careful.
I will scout ahead. You will provide backup.
Sir, yes, sir.
Commence operation.
How are things back in Abkhazia?
Thanks to the full efforts of the workers, power was restored in just 2 days.
Pretty impressive.
Only the power plant is back online, though. Refinery itself will likely be out of service for months. Fuel sent from Supsa is being used to power the plant for now.
Just wish I could have stopped him.
Impossible without a sniper. And in our focus on anti-cyborg combat, we were unprepared. Thankfully, other than financial losses, few Abkhaz citizens were seriously affected. The plant workers had already been evacuated, and most were hired back on to rebuild refinery. We received payment and are not being blamed for the suicide blast.
Good to hear. It should go a long way to help fix our reputation.
Duh. And even more good news. Desperado is down one of its top captains.
Let's hope they learned a lesson.
We can hope, but it is doubtful. We still do not know who is supporting them. Even if we shut Desperado down entirely, their backers could simply hire some other PMC.
Whoever it is, you really think they're interested in the pipeline? Who'd benefit besides the Georgians?
Hard to say. Whatever the plan was, it went up in flames with Dolzaev's suicide. The problem is that there are countless companies and governments profiting off the BTC pipeline. Whoever is behind it, they may be too big for a simple security firm like us to do anything.
Yeah, one thing we do know, though, is that Sundowner's more than just a pawn in all of this. We need to watch him. Trafficking or not, we need to stop their operation here.
Find the evidence, and perhaps we can do that. And Tovarich, be careful.
This trial mentioned someone from her past. Any idea who that could have been?
None. I checked her file again, couldn't find a thing. Definitely not Dolzaev. Probably not Sundowner either.
No. The way she put it, it didn't sound like anyone I've encountered so far. Maybe someone involved in backing Desperado.
If so, sounds like they're providing more than just financing. Maybe they share the same philosophy.
That'd be bad. People willing to die for their leaders aren't so easy to predict.
Yeah, but other than the wins, Desperado's cyborgs are all just hired contractors. They're probably emotion suppressed with nanos or drugs or whatever, but that's about it.
You're probably right.
Can't believe Dolzaev blew himself up.
Pretty common terror tactic. You don't usually see the leaders doing it, though. It's one thing to get your flock pumped up on the glory of dying for the cause, but it's not often they actually go through with it themselves.
You gotta have a public face, after all. The guy who gets to claim responsibility on the evening news.
In a weird way, Dolzaev showed some serious dedication. Not that I'm about to praise him for it.
Yeah, still a terrorist. A suicide bomber in the end.
If that's what you want to call him. Still, he kind of failed at it.
How so?
Well, all that explosion did was put a dent in Abkhazia's budget. More Russia's, really. They're the ones rebuilding the refinery. The coup didn't work out. He couldn't overthrow the government. He was barely a blip on Russia's radar.
So, you're saying the bombing didn't accomplish any of his goals? He did it just because he was cornered? Sounds more like just plain suicide.
Yeah. Probably wanted to end things with his own hands. Like a samurai committing harakiri.
Still not something to be commended for, though.
Yeah. Lumping him in with true warriors like the samurai just gives them a bad name. Doc, I'm seeing desperado cyborgs explode here after I take them down.
For security purposes, I would imagine. Cyborgs often use classified tech from suppliers who take great pains to maintain their trade secrets. Most likely, these models have a self-destruct failsafe that triggers once they cannot defend themselves.
So they die even though their brains could be transferred to a new body?
I understand your concern, Raiden, but I am sure these conditions were clearly stated in their contracts. This is one area that is well regulated by the law. PMCs must inform their workers of such things. These men knew the danger when they signed up. No doubt they were compensated for the additional risk.
Right.
You should be more concerned with the potential for data loss in these explosions. They could damage or even erase the holographic memory in their left hands. Though to think on it, the data is most likely automatically wiped before detonation, just in case it would survive the explosion and resulting shockwave, you know.
Yeah. Sure, Doc.
You must remove the hands before their critical system shutdown sequence can activate. Remember it this way. Before you kill, make certain no cyborg is left with a left hand.
Wolf? You're a one-of-a-kind prototype, right?
Correct. I was originally conceived as a weapon to replace humans and cyborgs. Conversation and intelligent decision-making were deemed essential to the role. The project was eventually cancelled after 3 years in development.
Why?
I have intelligence, but I lack a specific quality essential to any combatant.
What's that?
Brutality. I am not human, thus, I lack the brutality inherent to humanity. I was shut down, then revived, apparently on Sundowner's orders.
Sundowner? But what's he want with you?
Unknown. A manifestation of his sense of humor, perhaps. As a machine, I am more sensitive to my fellow man than an actual fellow man. This amused him.
Guy has an odd sense of humor.
Right. Unidentified UGs are patrolling the sewers. Exercise caution.
Better take out that UG quick. Don't want to attract too much attention down there.
I see a maintenance catwalk. Use it to conceal yourself if necessary.
Have you ever worked with this client of ours before?
Duh. Several active human rights groups engage in non-violent interventions like this one. Typically, they hire firms like ours to provide security and backup. Most serious human rights abuses take place in unstable regions, after all. Legitimate human rights groups, not fakes set up by oil firm or such things, they cannot handle it.
Yeah. It's different for private groups working in hostile regions, especially when some of that hostility comes from the local authorities.
Indeed. NGOs and security firms play a greater role in peacekeeping, too. You know, DDR business. Disarmament, demobilization, reintegration. Like the UN runs it. Usually, carrying weapons is not permitted for the group involved, for obvious reasons.
So outfits like ours run guard duty. If the locals don't like armed peacekeepers, then they pretend to be unarmed observers instead.
Duh. It's beneficial for the client if the locals are aware of the firepower backing them, though. I've drank tea with the sort of people my company would normally be pushing back with the butts of our rifles. It's very different from usual. More direct sort of security work, especially at beginning. But I got used to it. Less danger of unexpected conflict, and the pay is pretty good. We've built...
You know, I've never really developed a taste for climbing through sewers. And Guadalajaras aren't exactly wowing me either. This place isn't gonna go up in flames, right? I think I saw something about that in the briefing.
You're talking about 1992? What a mess. Over 200 people killed. That was almost a half-century ago, though. You smell anything off? Before the explosions, residents complained they smelled gas from the sewers.
I'm in a sewer, Kev. You think I've got my smell receptors on? Local air analysis doesn't show anything potentially poisonous or explosive, though.
Well, you ought to be fine then. Besides, little gas explosion's probably not gonna kill someone like you.
Well, that's very encouraging. Seriously, though, Guadalajara is not a bad place, at least from what I've seen.
Oh, it's not. Second largest city in Mexico, after all. I've actually spent a lot of time down there. It's got a lot of charm. The architecture is a fusion of Latin and old colonial Spanish culture. The city's historic district is home to a massive cathedral overlooking the whole town. It's always bustling. It's a lot of fun just kicking back and watching the locals. Walking around the Libertad, taking in the sun with a cerveza in one hand, mariachi band nearby. No better way to spend a weekend, let me tell you.
If this PMC thing doesn't work out, you'd make one hell of a tour guide. Meanwhile, I'm down in this dark, filthy, humid, cramped sewer.
Also, if you ask me, the girls over there are the hottest in all of Mexico. You wouldn't believe some of the chicas I've chatted up. On the street, in the shopping malls, at the bars.
Sounds like better company than a robo-wolf and a bunch of plague-ridden mice.
Well, hang in there. I'll buy you a shot of tequila after we wrap this up. The city of tequila's not far, actually. That's where it originated.
I'll take you up on that. Now let's get this over with.
I hope she didn't get to you. Wanting to protect the weak that's worth striving for.
Don't worry. I've heard more than a few supervillain spiels in my time. Maybe we had some things in common in our past, but not anymore. I bring my beliefs into every battle I fight. You want to call me foolish? Well, that's not gonna change me.
I'm glad to hear that, Raiden.
Yeah, thanks. Riding out.
Raiden, have I told you of the research I was conducting before we met?
Several times.
It was the Cold War. East Germany. The DDR. My field was infantry weapon research. It was a magical time. Secret research. Top secret, you know. All for the Soviets, but so exciting. I was free to explore wherever my findings took me. I never had a budget request refused. Not once. I was young then. Working, always working. Most nights I would sleep under my desk, you know. Call it nostalgie, but East Germany wasn't so bad. Nostalgie being German for East nostalgia, of course.
Of course.
Yes, the bureaucracy had its problems. But my colleagues, the discoveries. Well. In any case, after unification, they suddenly shut down our entire facility. Everything I'd worked for, my job, my research, poof, gone just like that.
Sounds rough.
I've often said I would be a homeless vagrant if myoelectric prosthesis hadn't lent me a hand. Artificial limbs were crude props then, you know, designed only for appearances. They were hardly functional. If you lost an arm or leg, you were disabled, and that was that. The key was running actuators based on electromyography signals from the skin's surface, of course. This enabled a great range of movement, even more so than a natural limb. It was then I realized my knowledge of robotics and engineering could come in handy. So, I contacted a prosthesis laboratory in Dortmund, and I was hired immediately. Patents filed in my name made quite a bit of money, you know. Soon I was made the head of my own lab.
And that's when you started filling orders from PMCs.
Indeed. From contractors who'd been referred by their employers, to be exact. Workers from your industry quickly became our best customers. We were flooded with orders. But my field was never full body conversions. You can imagine my surprise when Boris contacted me.
Yeah. Our previous cybernetics maintenance guy went into hiding.
But I built on my knowledge and now consider myself an expert on all cyborgs, both partial and full body.
Glad I could help with your on-the-job training. Seriously, though, we're lucky to have you on board.
Yes, I should think we have both benefited from our arrangement. Which reminds me, do not forget our other arrangement. The cyborg's left hands, if you would.
Got it.
Raiden, ambulatory unmanned gears detected in sewer network.
What? Desperados already spotted us?
Negative. These UGs are not engaged in proper perimeter security. Even were the lab anticipating our assault, they would not set up patrols down here. It is too far from the lab to be effectively guarded.
So what are they doing down here?
Judging by their behavior, I believe they are gathering AI behavioral learning data.
Meaning?
With Neuro AI, there is no delineation between hardware and software. You cannot simply extract the learning data from one AI and insert it into another. In order to prepare a UG's AI for deployment, each must learn its duties on an individual basis.
So they're using a Mexican sewer as their training ground.
No, it would be impractical to implement on-the-field training for every AI in their force. In most cases, AIs are fed simulated data sets, plus feedback based on their chosen actions. Put another way, they engage in VR training.
So then why are they here?
I believe they are collecting data to improve upon their VR training code. To build a better VR regimen, they must go out in the field to experiment and gather data. It is probable they are using the sewers to help improve their AI's behavior in enclosed spaces.
That's the sort of subcontracting work this lab does?
It appears likely.
Oh, great. And here I was hoping the worst we'd have to deal with is toxic waste.
Unfortunately, not. Right. There is a boy in these sewers.
How are things back in Abkhazia?
Thanks to the full F.
Pretty impressive.
Only the power plant is fuel sent from Supsa. And then thankfully, the plant worker we received.
Good to hear.
Let's
Who? Yeah, we
find the.
There's a boy down here? Are you sure?
An AI never lies.
What? Well, that's a lie right there. You think the Patriot AI sold nothing but the truth?
I have yet to see evidence to the contrary. But indeed, perhaps never lies would be an overstatement.
Way to backpedal. I didn't think AIs ever got flip-floppy like that.
An optical neural AI is fundamentally similar to an actual human brain. Whether they lie or not is another question. But certainly they are capable of incorrect statements.
Anyway, let's get back to the kid. Where is he?
Unknown. He ran when he saw me. I intended no harm, but he must have assumed the worst. I opted not to pursue, as that might only confirm his suspicions.
What'd he look like?
An Indian child, estimated age 11 years. He appeared to be wearing medical scrubs.
Human trafficking.
The boy fled in your direction. It would be wise to search for him. One can logically assume he would have information pertinent to our mission.
Yeah, no shit.
Raiden, are you fully versed in the features of your AR display? It can serve many functions, you know.
Do I hear un lecture coming on?
A lecture? No, of course not. I'm hardly an expert. Of course, I know the first practice. Then head-mounted displays, HMDs. The data could be seen even as the view. As the technology improved, it was of course, with cyborgs such as yourself.
No lecture, huh? Anyway, there's more to my augmented reality than just upgraded HMD tech.
Of course there is, Dummkopf. You did not let me finish.
Oh, you weren't finished?
AR is a much broader concept. It is more a design concept than a particular imaging methodology. It encompasses HUDs, HMDs, any and all manner of visual real-time data overlay. Though recently, some reserve the AR label for virtual objects the subject can both see and touch. For example, your codec menu and zoom slider. Such objects do not exist anywhere in the real world, not even as images. They are fed directly to your optic nerve, so only you can see them. Yet, when you interact with them, sensory feedback is delivered to the nerves in your fingers. It gives you the sense of touching a thing that does not exist.
Beats lugging around a sat radio and giant scope, that's for sure. Hey, Kev, let me...
What's up?
No. Those girls in Guadalajara.
Jeez, man, we're in the...
So they used you for free drinks and then took them...
Well, they weren't really my... I'm more of an intellectual, you know? I don't go for just any random girl at a bar. Looks are one thing, but I need someone I can talk to. Someone fun but clever with a good sense of humor.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Look, Kev, you're in your 30s now. It's time to stop holding out for Lil Miss Perfect. You just need to find someone nice. You know, settle down, start a family.
Okay, Mom. Okay.
Laugh all you want, Kev, but having kids will change your life. I can't see him all the time with work and all. But whenever I'm back home, he's always so excited to see me. When I see that, I feel like, you know, I want to do whatever I can to keep him happy.
Sure, I hear you. But look, man, I was just having some fun in Mexico. Wasn't seriously searching for a wife or anything.
I know, but separate from that, I just think you've gotten too damn picky. I can understand trying to find the ideal woman when you're young, but you know what? It's those little imperfections, those idiosyncrasies that keep things interesting in the long run. You come to appreciate that kind of stuff in a lifetime relationship.
Idiosyncrasies, huh? Like if she snores or she talks loud during movies?
Well, not if she talks during movies. A man's gotta have some standards.
Hey, riding.
The sombrero? Well, picked it up at a souvenir store. Also, when you're on a scout mission...
Yeah. I think it looked pretty good on you.
Oh, you think so?
Yep. Only...
How so?
Well, I mean, that sombrero...
Come on. The guy at the shop told me I'd look just like a local.
Yeah, a local tourist, maybe. Look, you might see a lot of Mexican men wearing sombreros during their daily routines, but, nothing like that. They'd go for something a lot more simple and compact. Something not all that different from cowboy hats in the Old West.
Are you sure?
I don't know if it's true or not, but I have heard one theory about the modern cowboy hat. They say it's based on the sombreros the original Western settlers brought from Mexico. Of course, cowboy hats come in all shapes and sizes, so you can't really say a specific one's the cowboy hat.
Huh. Well, now I know why the locals were so eager to get a look at me.
That wasn't the hat.
¿Estás bien?
What you say?
Oh.
Me a Guyanese, from Guyana. You speak English?
Yeah, I'm from America. Call me Ryden.
Me name George, like Georgetown.
George.
And just like all damn America president.
Yeah. So what are you doing here?
Me? What the rest of you do here? You lose the map of Ninja hideout, Ninja man?
No, I'm looking for bad guys.
Ah, damn skunter research lab.
You know about it?
Me know me now go back. Hey, you're not one of them skunt, nah? Nah, I guess you're alright. If you're a cyborg, you know who they is?
Sort of. What happened to you?
Oh, me been live on the street, rake and scrape for a bob, nah? Then this good need dressed like the mafia say, hey boy, you want a job? What the worst gonna happen, nah? But that mother skunt don't put me on a ras boat. They pack us all a big old dirty container. Next thing we know, we're here at that zombie lab.
All kids? Like you?
Yeah, a lot of boy. But then me been over here what them skunt wanna do. Snuff us out. And got all the organ.
So you ran?
Uh-huh. Is shame me not a bad-ass robot ninja man, same as you. Ha! Me been strongest cyborg ever. Warlock all them phantoms and black clothes that eye pass me.
Starting to sound like a bad guy yourself.
Just plain, nah? Me done plenty bad thing. But me not kill no man. Nah, never.
Good.
We tried to warn the boy. I say, IOD's brain would get cut out. Run your ass out of there. But them boy with me no understand. They like Spanish or something. So me the only one for escape. Then that machine come after me and...
And I know the rest. George, I need every detail about how you escaped.
Oh.
So the kid got into the sewers?
Yeah, he says the champ...
Got it. That must be where they dumped the waste.
There's something else. It sounds like a Desperado exec was on site yesterday. If a Sentry Cyborg was on hand for the meeting...
You should be able to review their video log, provided you can find a server access terminal. That would give us the evidence we need, as well as a little peek at the level of their technology.
So what about the kid?
I made sure the area was secure and told him to sit tight. Can you pick him up?
Sure. I'll send a couple agents for him. You just focus on getting into that lab. If what he said is true about the organs, we need to hurry.
Agreed. Riding out. Boris, we've got kids being held inside this lab. I'm getting them out.
Copy that. I will discuss with NGO what to do.
What are you thinking?
Well, this is difficult. I imagine this likely they have no home to return. We could look for adoptions in US, but some...
Yeah, wasn't easy for me either. The guys at the relief center were always worried I'd cause problems.
The alternative is putting them in an institution until they grow up. But this has issues as well. Most are already past capacity. Taking on this many street kids at one time would be impossible. Also, it's a matter of fairness. Is it fair to take in these kids here when millions more are dying? I imagine this is why rescue was not part of our contracted mission. The human rights NGOs, they know they can't rescue them all. They must take a wide view and confront the problem of traffickers, not their victims.
Well, we can't just sit here and let them pull kids to...
Duh. On this, for now, rescue the children.
Copy that. That kid said he's from Guyana. That's on the Caribbean side of South America, right? Know anything about it?
A little. Though I'm more of an expert on Africa than the Americas. To be exact, Guyana's sandwiched between Venezuela and Suriname, with Brazil on its southern border. Of course, the Venezuelan border is sheer rainforest. There aren't even any roads through it. You have to cross the Guyana Shield to get to Brazil, too.
So it's pretty isolated from the rest of the continent.
Most inland connections run through Suriname, opposite of Venezuela. Beyond Suriname is French Guyana. The three countries are referred to as the Guyanas, and the entire region's got its own unique culture sphere.
The Guyanas? I've heard the name, but I don't really know it at all.
Same here. I do know the region's a lot smaller than Brazil, or even Venezuela for that matter. As you know, most South American countries have Spanish as their official language. Brazil uses Portuguese. Guyana, though, uses English. Suriname uses Dutch, and French Guyana uses French, naturally.
A kind of divide-and-conquer approach to colonialism, huh?
Yeah. They're all independent now except French Guyana, though. Sort of like what you see in Africa. I did some research after you met George. Culturally, at least, Guyana's more Caribbean than South American.
Yeah? He looked a little Asian to me.
There's a lot of immigrants from India living there. They were both British colonies, after all. It's a lot more influence from the UK than India, though. I mean, look at George's name, after all.
An English-speaking South American of Indian background.
Everything good over there, Raiden? You, don't seem like you're in much of a hurry.
Give me some time. I've got a lot of intel to gather. Speaking of which, I'd better get going. Riding out.
I can't believe what they're doing in there. Guess I shouldn't be so surprised, huh?
Guess not.
Are you gonna help them?
No other choice.
I'll try to help look for someplace that might take them in.
Thanks.
Least I can do. Did you want to save your data? Okay, save complete. Don't let your guard down, okay?
Very well done, Raiden.
Oh, thanks, I guess.
That raptor may have been smaller than an Irving, but its potential is simply remarkable. Defeating it is a fine demonstration of your body's abilities. I'm quite happy to see it working so well.
Well, thanks, Doc. I'm quite happy I'm not dead, too.
How did it feel to fight it?
Well, an Irving has more strength and firepower. But this guy was a lot harder to keep a beat on. Not that big of a deal, but you definitely don't want to let your guard down around one.
Indeed. A combination Irving and tripod force would be a formidable foe in any urban warfare scenario. The only problem is cost. A PMC would have to be well funded indeed to even think about acquiring the necessary numbers to make it work. There are situations where an Irving may be overkill, but tripods cannot provide the necessary force.
So the Raptor was built to fill that gap?
Indeed. Its basic design is a streamlined, more compact version of the Irving. Furthermore, it uses the same control system as the tripods, which helps keep costs low. It can use standard personnel weaponry as is, and its armor has been componentized. This is to say, the user can expand its defensive capability as needed. It's fit for standard military operations, anti-terror missions, even regular patrol and police duty. A most admirable jack of all trades. Adorable too, wouldn't you say?
Not the first word that comes to mind.
Ah, yes. My apologies. I can't help but marvel at a well-made machine when I see one. There's no need to be jealous, though. Your body is still quite impressive as well.
Yeah, thanks, Doc. Let me ask you something. What do you think you're doing here? I mean, why are you working with me?
Because I choose to. I owe a debt, and I wish to repay it.
A debt, huh? How human of you.
I contest that statement. Many humans possess little or no sense of obligation at all. And many are entirely willing to trample their fellow man for personal gain.
I know. But is that it? I mean, you're willing to follow me, put yourself at risk just because of that? What do you think of what I'm doing here, for example?
A delicate question. I do find it difficult to rationalize your mission to rescue the children. If you wish to save children in need, there are hundreds of millions of others equally in need.
Thanks for the support.
However, we must still uncover the full extent of Desperado's activities. And as such, it is meaningless to debate best practices without sufficient information.
All right, then. No more questions, Your Honor.
Heavy UG activity ahead. It is possible they are conducting test operations while the lab is closed.
They're not going to make it easy to get into that lab. Is there some way you could sneak past? It's a box. How's that gonna help? Oh, it's for medical supplies. That could work, actually.
Those brains are from the street kids they picked up, abducted by traffickers and sold to Desperado.
Right. And now it looks like they're selling...
That part of the world's full of home.
True. Though really just about every nation's full of them. You see a lot of them across the African and Asian continents. Estimates put the worldwide number of homeless children at anywhere from tens...
Kind of. I guess it's hard to do solid research in the kinds of places...
True enough. The way the Human Rights NGO put it, though, some are on the street because they ran away from home, but...
Go home at night? Those kids still count as street children?
Well, the point is that there's no set definition. Without a clear definition, estimates in...
Makes sense.
If you're going to talk about street kids, though, I think little things can make a huge difference if you've got a whole... Kind of presumptuous for me to say which is better, I guess, but you can't just ignore that aspect.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine how helpless you feel when you've got no one to fall back on.
Yeah. Opinions similarly divided on the child labor issue, too. Some say all underage labor should be banned. Others think the decision should be left up to the family. I mean, sure, kids shouldn't be exploited or pressed into military service. If nothing else, the right to an education's got to be protected. But should a kid be banned from helping out at his dad's store? What if a family's so desperate that it would starve without the money their children bring in?
Yeah, it's definitely not cut and dry. So, you were under Mistral's command all this time?
I originally took orders from Sundowner, but not for long. As a novelty, I did not last. Mistral saw more potential in me.
What'd she see?
Unknown. However, she apparently enjoys the company of dogs. She demanded 100% obedience. As long as it was given, she treated me well.
She was looking for companionship?
That I cannot say. I still have relatively little communication experience with humans. My ability to read emotions not explicitly expressed by speech is lacking.
How is Wolf faring?
Hard to say just yet. Seems like he's doing okay.
Good, good. I'm so pleased my repairs were effective.
He seems happy enough, but I don't know. Can a machine really be happy? Maybe he's just being directed by his programming to behave that way.
And what is wrong with that? If something you do for someone else is appreciated, it makes you happy. It's a perfectly normal reaction, one that applies whether you're man or machine, and whether or not you have intelligence.
I guess so.
When you watch a film, does it not make you happy when good things happen to the heroes in the end?
I'm not seeing the connection.
Well, those heroes are not really happy. They're just following a script written by someone else. The actors have human intelligence, but the characters themselves do not. It is a facade, an imitation, and yet we still feel an emotional connection. It does not matter that it is make-believe. Now, I certainly don't know whether the AI you encountered in the past was Neuro or not, but Wolf most certainly is. And with a Neuro AI, it is not so simple as working off a set computer program. You can define intelligence however you like, but personally, I see no reason not to say Wolf has it. It possesses a Neuro AI structurally similar to the human brain. It has learned enough of the world around it to be capable of human speech. Truly, an astounding artificial intelligence is at work here. One, I suspect, could make for substantial business opportunities given the chance. Think of the possibilities, Raiden. What do you think a truly intelligent AI could do for the world?
I'll let you know if I think of anything. Riding out.
By the way, I didn't know you spoke Spanish.
I've got the US Army to thank for that. I was in a group called Foxhound, although it doesn't exist on paper. We were isolated from the other soldiers. Day after day of VR training.
I heard about that.
It's not like it was all VR, though. Special Forces guys need advanced physical and communication skills. I had to do all the basic training and language schoolwork, too. We even trained in the Afghan village set up at Fort Polk.
The Afghan village?
They built a mock urban area on a base in Louisiana for training purposes. It was a hell of a lot more realistic than the VR training we had back then. Nothing compared to cyborg training, though. Having it jacked right in like that.
They say it's so realistic now, you can feel your blade cutting through flesh.
We intercepted call for backup during your last fight. The caller's position is on your Soliton radar. You can engage if you wish. It is your choice. You're under attack! They keep on coming! Good, Raiden, very good! Raiden, I said earlier this is an infiltration mission. But if it comes to combat when rescuing the children, so be it. If enemy cyborgs attack, you are free to respond with all available force.
I figured.
Attacking first, that would be a gray area, legally speaking. But I doubt anyone would take us to court over it.
Yeah, I doubt it too.
Just keep your hands off all non-combatants. That would violate international law, not to mention morals of company.
I hear you. Where the hell did Desperado get all these cyborgs anyway, Kev?
Hard to say. They're not as rare as they once were, but still. Of all registered PMC troops, we're still talking what, 3% have enhancements? Maybe 5% tops. Mostly career military who got hurt on the battlefield one way or another. Getting their arms or legs back lets them keep earning a living. But most able-bodied soldiers are still reluctant to sacrifice their own healthy body parts. Plus, the surgery is highly specialized. Expensive as hell. Not to mention maintenance costs after that. Unless insurance is footing the bill, most guys couldn't afford enhancements even if they wanted to.
Maverick's got some cyborgs. What's their story? They all wounded in action?
Mostly. I heard a few saved up and paid for it themselves, but just a few. There is this one crazy blonde guy, though. I heard he asked for a full body conversion.
The Patriots didn't leave me much of a body to begin with. I just had Herr Doctor finish what they started.
You know I'm just giving you shit, man. Anyway, yeah. Looking at the numbers, cyborg soldiers are still a pretty small minority. Not really surprising when only contractors in developed countries are offered insurance. Third world soldiers get hurt out on the field, and that's all she wrote. They can't work as a merc anymore. Most times, they can't really work at all.
Well, Desperado's up to something, because cyborgs are definitely not in the minority here.
I've heard of some PMCs covering the cost of the surgery for their disabled. The mercs get their career back, sure, but the PMCs aren't exactly running a charity. These guys have to work to pay it off until the company at least breaks even on them. Any cyborg breaks his contract early would probably be in debt for the rest of his life.
You think that's Desperado's MO?
I can't prove it, but sure as hell wouldn't surprise me.
You know much about Guyana, Courtney?
Not really. I know the name, but don't ask me anything about what it's like.
You mean you haven't even tried the food?
Nope. No research trips this time. Besides, who knew we'd be running into any Guyanese here? I'm looking now, though. Looks like a lot of their diet is seafood. It's a small coastal nation, so it's probably easy to get fresh fish across the whole country. A lot of their dishes use Indian spices. That's where a lot of their immigrants come from.
Fish with curry, huh? Sounds tasty. But, maybe you could finish reading all about the food there after the mission.
Huh? Oh, it just, came up while I was reading up on Guyana in general.
Right. Well, let me know if you find anything actually useful.
It just popped up in the search results, I swear.
There is another school of thought on precisely what constitutes AR.
Seriously, more of this?
It defines AR as anything which obscures the boundary between reality and that experienced by the viewer.
Well, how would that be different from VR?
Well, for example, let's say that you and I are having a nice chat face to face. Suddenly, I disappear, poof, and in my place appears a ravishing, nubile young woman. Is the girl the projected image or the reality? Perhaps I was the AR. How would you know?
The accent might be a clue.
Such things can be controlled with a simple hack of your auditory nerves.
Well, that's comforting. So how is this different from VR again?
Well, I suppose, strictly speaking, it is rather similar. Both are a method for completely fooling the senses, rather than simply augmenting them. Although, technically it would be MR, mixed reality, since there are some real elements involved. Yes, of course, that would be the distinction and the correct term. In any case, the advance of MR technology leads to many interesting philosophical questions. What happens when appearances cease to have meaning? It is no longer see it to believe it, after all. It could make for a great advance in cyborg acceptance, They could project a perfectly normal human body to be seen by anyone who can perceive MR.
I don't know. Sounds like it might cause more problems than it'd solve to me.
It appears you have entered the sewer's maintenance corridor. It connects individual water conduits for inspection and work access. Additionally, it is used for material storage during expansion and construction work.
How do you know all this?
These are all logical assumptions. I have determined the approximate location of the lab based on the boy's information. It is marked on your Soliton radar.
Let me ask you something. What do you think you're doing here? I mean,
Because I owe a debt.
A debt, huh?
I contest that statement.
I know. But is that... What do you think of what I'm doing here for...
A delicate question. I do find it difficult if you wish to save children in need.
Thanks.
However, we must, and as such, it is...
Let me ask you something. I mean... What do you...
If you... How and...
Raiden, as if any... But... That...
Fake wall projection. Pretty well hidden, I gotta say.
This would appear to be the UG maintenance area. You should find a terminal there. Something they use to upload mission parameters to the UGs.
And something I can use to access the lab's main server?
Perhaps. But first you need to take a dump.
Wait, what?
A dump? A digital optical output mounted proxy. You'll need one to interface with the terminal. Most any UG should suffice. A tripod or the like.
I'll see what I can come up with. How do I use it?
Simply connect to it. You should be able to use your communications outlay to control the proxy UG.
All right, let's give it a shot.
Raiden, I said earlier, if any...
Hey, Dom. What can you tell me? I know they're the real...
Well, there one as
Sort
precisely it is there. You can defeat it. In. Right. I thought you said stealth ops were your specialty. If they continue to increase security, they may shut out all outside network connections. Please do your best to avoid being seen.
Raiden, I said earlier, if enemy...
For now, yeah. But that room... those were cyborg brain casings.
Duh. We saw.
George said they were harvesting organs from kids.
Yes. This must be why they are trafficking children. Perhaps other organs are being sold elsewhere, but they are definitely taking the brains.
Jesus. Are they making these kids into cyborgs?
Wait. The cyborgs you've been fighting, did they seem like they might be kids? You said earlier that child soldiers have a telltale approach to combat.
Yeah, but I didn't see it here. Those weren't kids.
So, what? Desperado's just doing the surgeries there?
We've got to do something about all those brains. And the other kids George was talking about. He just escaped a few hours ago. They couldn't have taken all their brains out that fast.
True. There could still be a bunch of kids they haven't touched yet.
I better move.
You have entered the lab.
Yeah. You're falling behind, Wolf.
My apologies.
It's fine. Just get here as soon as you can.
I have failed in my duties as a scout. There is no excuse. This has never happened to me before.
I said it's fine, Wolf. It's no big deal. Just get here ASAP, okay?
Thank you. I shall redeem myself. I swear that to you.
Okay. What do you know about these brain units, Doc?
It is a type of canister conceived to transport as each one is equipped with a rudimentary environment. The unit can protect the brain from temperature changes and other fluctuations in the local environment. I would imagine they regulate the brain's supply of oxygen and glucose as well.
That's what I thought. I've seen these before, but I didn't think there were that many of them out there.
Oh, manufacturing's exploded alongside the rise of cyborgs, though they're still made by only one company. The chassis also functions as an impact liner, absorbing impact and preventing organic damage. It's durable against impacts up to 700 G, which would be enough to permanently damage an unprotected brain.
Sounds like military spec stuff.
Well, it would certainly be expected to withstand gunshots or explosions, but the liner is primarily intended to keep the brain safe in the event of an accident during transport. These canisters are quite functional overall and clearly designed for mass production. Costs, you know. However, human brains come in many sizes. Thus, the unit is on the larger side to compensate for a wide range. This unit cannot be used if, as in your case, the subject wishes to retain his original human visage. The brain must instead be transplanted directly into a precision-fitted skull casing. Such customization, of course, does not come cheap, and does nothing to enhance the cyborg's battle skills. It's an option beyond the reach of most. You surely noticed your cyborg opponents tend to resemble each other. That is part of the reason.
So they're extracting the brains here, then transporting them somewhere else in these things.
Into the US, most likely. Brains alone, after all, would not violate the UN Arms Trade Treaty. I imagine these are intended for implant into bodies manufactured in America.
This is crazy.
I can't believe they're extracting children's brains. Can't we do anything?
I don't know. That's something I need to discuss with Doc. For now, I gotta worry about the kids they haven't operated on yet. As long as they're held hostage, no way am I gonna be able to get the brains out of here.
Yeah, you better hurry. Oh, but maybe you should save first. Save complete. Be careful.
Man, I couldn't have imagined anyone would cut the brains out of kids.
What are they even doing this for? Why make them into cyborgs?
I don't know. They say child soldiers are both bolder and more obedient than adults, but...
They are. On both counts. But the surgeries alone would cost a fortune. Not to mention all the training.
Yeah, I don't get it either. For now, you just look for the kids they haven't operated on yet. We come in too late on this, and things are gonna get a whole lot messier.
I'm worried about the kids they haven't got to yet. But what about those brain units? They're just brains, but they're still alive. I won't just abandon them.
Duh. I will discuss with Doctor. There must be artificial bodies they can use, not like the combat type you have. Maintenance must be considered, of course. But with today's technology, they can at least live comfortably enough as cyborgs.
Yeah, maybe. Physically, anyway. Society may say otherwise.
Yes, but we will worry about such problems after they are rescued. For now, though, let us concentrate on the intact children first.
You got it.
Splendid! It is all ours. Now, use it to locate a data input terminal.
These guys are pretty jumpy now. Any funny business, and they might just open fire.
Try latching onto cyborgs' heads from behind. Then, an electric shock should knock them unconscious.
Raiden, I said earlier this is if any... but... that...
Raiden, I found something. In one of the Sentry Cyborg's visual logs. Guess who shows up?
Patch it through.
Right away.
Then send us what you do have. We've already commenced the plan.
The Sears program?
Yep. Same one old Georgie boy used on the kids in Liberia. Of course, it's right straight to the brain now. Feels as real as anything else.
Your work is astonishing.
And your work is late. We need to shit before our cover is blown. We've got some assholes snooping around.
We just do not have the full quantity yet. Each brain has its own unique requirements. It's not like we can just pop them out with an ice cream scoop.
All right. Make your point.
Oh, thank you for understanding.
Send what you have now. I'll destroy any unharvested inventory.
Okay? But have you any idea what they cost?
Last I checked, children weren't exactly rare in the part of the world. Millions of them, in fact. You can get more once we set up a new lab. They lead lives of hunger and pain. We're performing a service here for them and the cities they burden.
But just gathering the donors required a significant investment.
Yes, you'll get the money. Accounting will be in touch.
Gracias. I assure you we will dispose of our inventory the instant we can confirm payment.
Are we done here? I've got a full slate today. Tecumseh is a demanding mistress, and America has suffered long enough.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Let me see you out.
You see that, Kev? Inmani's killer.
Desperado's chief of operations goes by Sundowner, the Californian wildfire.
The kids.
Think we're too late?
Only one way to find out. George was still alive. Maybe the payment hasn't come through yet.
Maybe. But you heard what he said. They've already started some brains on VR training.
There must be more than just what I found here. What about the VIP in the suit?
I'll find out. He definitely seemed familiar.
Right. I'm going after the kids.
Right. We can't find George.
What?
Maybe the coordinates you sent us were off?
No way. I merged the GPS location of our entry with all my movement data from that point on.
This is bad.
You think they got to him first?
I don't know. I'll have our guys sweep the area.
Thanks. I better keep moving. anything on George yet?
No. I think maybe they took him away.
Or worse.
Perhaps. Remember what that man said. There was matter of payment, but he doesn't need to wait for anything here. He can kill those prisoners anytime he wants. And as for escapees, they're more easily killed than captured.
Damn it! I knew I should have stayed with him until our guys showed up.
Raiden, the other children are not safe either. That payment may already have been made for all we know. And they know you're there, too. They may decide to simply dispose of children before they escape. You must hurry.
Any sign of George?
Not yet, no. Our men have split up to canvass the area. You just worry about the kids in the lab for now.
Understood. Got anything on George?
Not yet. I hope he's okay.
This is my fault. I could have stayed until someone came to pick him up.
Come on. Who knows what would have happened to the other kids in the meantime? Or even now, for that matter.
You're right. They're gonna be in even more danger soon enough. And there's a chance George is still safe. Somewhere.
Yeah. I'm sure he's fine.
I'd better move. Doc, they're VR training those kids' brains.
Indeed, much as one might expect. Simply installing someone in a cyborg body does nothing to enhance their neural acuity. True combat efficacy requires the right knowledge and the right operant conditioning.
Yeah, but this isn't just normal army training. This is the Sears program.
Indeed, the instructor sends data directly into the brain. The experience is almost impossible to discern from real life.
No, Doc. I'm not talking about the VR tech. The training program's completely different.
It is only VR, Raiden. They are not actually hurt.
Well, right. That's because they don't have bodies to get hurt with. But they still feel pain. Without that, it just isn't realistic enough. That, and with this training, you're the one doing the killing. Not just the soldiers, innocent people, POWs, civilians.
I see. So that is what the Sears program is.
Yeah. Look, I gotta move. Out. You ever see the guy in the suit before?
I am sorry. No.
Nothing in your database?
I have no database, Raiden. The symbol grounding capabilities of my Neuro AI allow me to identify faces in only the vaguest of terms. I can judge whether I think I may have seen him before, but I do not have the accuracy of a database.
Well, that's ridiculous. You're an AI.
An AI modeled after the human brain, and thus as flexible and occasionally vague as any humans. Of this man, however, I have no recollection. I do not believe I have encountered him before. Most likely.
Oh, man.
Ah, the Grad, yes. A Ukrainian UG. Of all the places to run into one, eh? Well, first thing is first. Drive it back and out of your way.
Damn, that thing's packing some heat. Probably goes without saying, but you need to stick to cover as you approach that bad boy.
You won't win this battle from long range, Raiden. You've got to find some way to get in close. And maybe I should save your data, just in case. Save complete. Be careful, Raiden.
That is a Grad, a UG developed in the Ukraine.
UG? Looks like a standard pillbox to me.
I have seen blueprints for a pillbox able to operate in tandem with infantry forces. I cannot be sure if this is a result, but I do know the Grad is capable of bipedal movement. In pillbox mode, the main cannon is also quite lethal. Approach carefully. Use cover to make your way to it.
George is missing.
Yeah. I should have had you stay back and watch him.
I should have been more cautious as well.
Listen, you should head back to the sewer and help out with the search. I'm gonna keep moving.
Understood.
This bastard is blocking the way. Push that thing back. They've switched to bicep mode. Careful. It is whole new battle now. Ah, here is where the Grad really shines. It has wheels in the back of its legs for quick movement. You would not expect speed from such a large UG. Add the firepower and you have a potent foe. Watch for gunfire when it starts moving, and wait for the right moment to close in.
Damn, that thing's packing some heat. Probably goes without saying.
You won't win this battle from long range, right? And maybe I should save your data. All right, be careful out there.
You can deflect both the missiles and also the shaped charges in the... If you find yourself heavily damaged...
Right. It appears the path I scouted...
It's all right. I'll figure something.
I knew I'd seen that guy before. Stephen Armstrong. As in Colorado Senator Stephen Armstrong. They're already talking about him as a shoo-in for the nomination in 2020. And get this. 2 years ago, a federal grand jury investigated his ties to a certain private...
World Marshal. One of the biggest PMCs out there. I remember.
The biggest, ever since the Big Five split up. Not to mention the single largest investor in military cyborg R&D in the world. Guess that answers the question of who's backing Desperado.
Marshall and Desperado in bed together. Should make for some fun headlines.
Headlines? This is World Marshal and a U.S. Senator we're talking about. There won't be any headlines. Even without the Patriots filter, no major media outlet will investigate allegations like these. It'd be financial and political suicide.
So we just what? Sit back while they keep carving up kids, stand aside while they build an army of cyborgs? You heard them. We shut down one lab, they build another. They're planning something big, Kev. We can't just wait for it to happen. We need to hit them first and hit them hard where it counts.
No, Raiden, no. I know what you're thinking, and just no. Colorado is in America, and America has these things called laws.
Mm-hmm. And law enforcement in Denver was privatized and farmed out to...
Marshall, yes, so what? There are still laws, and it's their headquarters, for Christ's sakes. You'd be heading right into the heart of a raging shitstorm.
I didn't say it would be easy. We'll figure it out once the kids are safe.
Jesus Christ. Kevin out.
So World Marshal is backing Desperado, huh?
You don't exactly sound surprised.
I did not catch it on the nose, but I did have a hunch it was this sort of thing.
Well, you're the boss. What do you think? Can we take them on?
What I think no longer matters here. As Kevin says, we have no legal grounds to stop them. And you? What would you have us do? Storm their headquarters? Kill them all? Will that make you feel better?
No, I mean, look, you heard him. They're already in VR training.
Raiden.
The Patriots may be gone, but it hasn't changed shit in the U.S. A handful of elites still get away with whatever the hell they want.
Raiden, calm down. Focus on rescuing the kids first. We will talk about this later.
Yeah, copy that. What do we know about Armstrong?
Plenty. Texas born and raised, played quarterback at UT. He was slated for the pros, but wound up joining the Navy after graduating. Said he wanted to serve his country instead. After that, moved to Colorado. Served in the state senate before getting elected to federal office. But this can probably wait.
Ah, yeah, you're right. Know anything about the guy in the suit, Courtney?
Not a clue. Sorry. I feel like I might have seen him somewhere, but...
Yeah, it's a pretty common-looking face.
Doc's analyzing all his facial features right now. He should have something for you soon.
All right. I've got a few things to do here anyway.
Yep. Do you want to save first? Good luck.
That UG, made in the East?
Indeed. The Grad, Russian for hail. It is built by the ally Vishnyovyeki Machine Works Design Bureau in Dnipropetrovsk, Ukraine.
That's not easy to remember. Is it an old Soviet firm?
Indeed. Technically, the UG's name is pronounced Grad, the Ukrainian way. But most in the business pronounce it as Grad, Russian style.
Crazy to think I'd find something like that in Mexico, of all places.
Well, drug cartels have been using Russian and Eastern European weapons for quite a while now, you know. Of course, the Arms Trade Treaty should have made importing something that size rather challenging.
Not for whoever's backing these guys, I guess.
I must admit, I never expected to see my magneto-stricted actuators in action again.
Magneto what?
An actuator that takes advantage of the change in shape when certain materials are magnetized. It was one of my many research subjects back in East Germany.
So you think that research made it to the Ukraine and got picked up by the Wisny, whatever?
Indeed. This great technology made under the communist ideal being used for something like this. My days of adhering to that sort of dogma are long over, but still, it saddens me to see this.
Don't let it bother you, Doc. You made me too, right? And now your latest creation is gonna take them down.
Indeed. I look forward to the day.
Desperado's backer has been identified. What will you do now, Raiden? Will you attempt to destroy World Marshal?
Kevin's right. It's not that simple.
Both a direct attack and a legal approach present problems. Either course will likely lead to additional conflict.
We can figure it out later. For now, we're getting those kids out.
That remains your intent? I cannot fully agree with that course of action, but I will support your decision. I will continue to scout ahead.
An artificial blood cryopreserver. They must have begun preparatory freezing.
What do you mean?
That device is filled with synthetic blood plasma. It can slow the metabolism of a harvested organ, circulating this plasma to sustain oxygen levels. You can preserve an arm, a brain, any body part for several hours.
So what are they freezing, and why?
I could not say. Perhaps they plan to sell off the organs of the children they were told to dispose of.
Unbelievable.
You had best hurry, right?
Right. Anything on George yet?
No.
Or worse.
Perhaps. He can kill those prisoners anytime he...
Damn it! I knew I should...
Raiden, that payment may already have been made for all... They may decide to simply dispose of...
Any luck finding...
No. I encountered the Maverick agents. You had best hurry.
Right.
So, World Marshal was Desperado's benefactor, or no wonder they were able to deploy...
If they'd already started putting those... Is it possible I'm actually fighting?
From the sound of things, the V-Up, the brain can only process so much stimuli at once. I sincerely doubt they could complete a full...
Yeah. Most of my
Indeed. I suppose you'd know...
Yeah. I guess I'd be a... Any sign of George?
Not yet, no. Our men have split up to... You just worry about the kids in the lab for now.
Understood.
World Marshal. I mean, they're huge. They advertise on TV with Hollywood celebs.
Yeah. It builds their brand and influences how the mass media... When a company's got nothing to sell and a huge ad campaign to sell it, that's usually a bad sign.
But... a lot of their guys aren't even contractors. They help military... I mean, I went to college with people...
Sorry to hear that.
So...
First, we rescue... After that, we talk things over with Boris.
Gotcha. Okay, I'd better... All right, please be...